The metaverse was supposed to be a revolution, a gateway to infinite worlds, a second life, a place where you could be anyone, do anything, escape reality. At least that's what they told us. But for some of us, it became a nightmare, a digital prison where things lurked in the code, watching, waiting, and sometimes following you back into the real world. IT started with a beta test. I was one of the lucky ones, or so I thought. I had been selected to beta test Eterna, a brand new hyper-realistic VR experience developed by an underground tech startup. The company remained eerily secretive about its origins, but their pitch was irresistible. The most immersive virtual reality experience ever created. Beyond a game, beyond a simulation, a living, breathing world. At first, Eterna was breathtaking. The level of detail was staggering. The grass swayed in the wind as if each individual blade had its own mind. Water shimmered, reflecting the sky with perfect clarity. The air even smelled real, salty near the ocean, earthy in the forests. And the NPCs, they weren't like anything I had ever seen before. They blinked. Their expressions changed dynamically. They remembered past interactions. Some of them had quirks, little habits that made them feel human. That I was in awe. But as the days passed, that awe turned into unease. Something felt off. The man in the dark coat, at first, I barely noticed him. Just a background figure, an NPC dressed in a long black coat, standing near a marketplace in one of Eterna's sprawling cities. He never spoke, never moved, never interacted with the world. He just stood there, staring at me. The first time I saw him, I assumed he was part of the environment, a static background character, a rendering bug. But the second time, the third, he was always there, always watching. I tried ignoring him. Maybe it was just a persistent AI routine, a minor glitch that would be fixed in an update. But the more I played, the more wrong it felt. His presence wasn't just coincidence. It was deliberate. One night, I was wandering through an abandoned city within Eterna, a beautifully crafted ruin where vines snaked through shattered skyscrapers, neon signs flickered with forgotten messages, and distant thunder rumbled across a sky that never seemed to clear. And then I saw him at the end of an alleyway, standing still, watching. A cold shiver crawled down my spine. My fingers trembled on the controller. I turned away for just a second. When I looked back, he was closer. The desperate escape panic shot through me. I ran and I sprinted through the empty streets, my boots slamming against cracked pavement, my breath ragged even though I knew it was just a game. But it didn't feel like a game. The city around me felt real, the cold air biting at my skin. I turned a corner, and there he was, right in front of me. His face wasn't blank anymore. His mouth had stretched into a grotesque grin, too wide, too unnatural. The skin at the edges cracking like dried leather. His hollow, sunken eyes burned into mine. I logged out. I yanked the headset off, my heart hammering in my chest. My skin was damp with sweat. The room felt suffocatingly silent, the hum of my PC the only sound in the dark. But the fear didn't fade, because I still felt him watching. The haunting begins the next day. Things started happening in real life. My phone screen glitched, displaying garbled text and static-filled videos that I never recorded. My smart home devices flickered on and off randomly in the middle of the night, playing distorted voices over my speakers. And then there was my VR headset that IT kept turning on by itself. I'd come home to find the headset glowing, resting in the middle of my desk as if someone had just used it. At first, I thought maybe it was a technical bug. Maybe some weird standby mode was activating it. But then, one night, I woke up to find it on my head. My blood turned to ice. I knew I had placed it on the shelf before sleeping. And yet, there it was, the screen flickering inches from my face, the distorted logo of Eterna glitching in and out of view. Shaking, I ripped it off and threw it across the room. The screen of my computer, which had been completely off, suddenly flickered to life. The Eterna login screen appeared. But something was wrong. The username field was already filled. IN at IT, wasn't my name. IT said, "I see you." My stomach twisted into a knot. My breath came in short, shallow gasps. I reached for the power switch, but before I could shut it down, the cursor moved by itself. IT hovered over the enter button. Then, a voice, dry, rasping, something ancient and unnatural, whispered from my speakers, "Let me out." A cold dread curled around my spine. I yanked the plug from the wall, plunging my room into darkness. My heart pounded so hard it echoed in my skull. Silence. And then, a sound. A soft scrape. A footstep. Right behind me. The reflection. I turned, slowly, and there, in the reflection of my blackened computer screen, he stood, the man in the dark coat. Inside my room. Smiling. My breath caught in my throat. My body locked in place, every muscle frozen with a terror so profound it felt inhuman. Then the screen flickered. For a split second, I saw something else, something beyond the reflection. A place that wasn't my room, cold, endless void. And in that void, figures. Dozens, hundreds, all standing, watching, all trapped. The screen blinked again. The reflection returned. But he was closer, too close. His hand reached out from the glass, and then the lights went out. The aftermath. I don't remember what happened next. That I woke up hours later, sprawled on the floor, the VR headset resting beside me. My computer was fried. The screen shattered as if something had punched through it from the inside. I moved out of that apartment the next day. I threw away the headset, destroyed my PC, erased every trace of Eterna from my life. But even now, when I walk past darkened screens, sometimes I see a reflection that doesn't match my own. And I know he's still there, waiting, watching, and one day he's coming back.